In this video, I wanted to demonstrate a system that I use to be able to share files with different permissions, and I can share in bulk. So let's see what this entails. So first of all, one of the things that you need to have when you go to share files, first of all, let me type in some names here. You know, I got John and Sue and Harry, and they need a user email. I'll just use, they would all have different, but I'll use an email here that is one of my emails, just to show that this works. I'll go ahead and do that. And then I want John to have commenter, and I want Sue to have viewer, and Harry can be an editor. And I'm going to share a file. Now, when you, I have a set of scripts here and an added menu. So I want to create some file copies. I select that, and it's asking me what the file ID is. So let's say that I have a file. Let me just cancel that. And when you cancel, it does give you an error because you canceled it. But what I need to do first is go and get my file ID. And you can see I've got some folders, some tabs here that are listing all the files in a folder. So let me start and show how I do that. I have another script that runs through and does this. So I think what I might do is just I'll go ahead and duplicate this letter tiles, and then on this sheet I'm going to just select just the files in a drive folder. And when I do that, I'm going to have to come over and get an ID from a folder. And in this case, it's going to be this ID for this YouTube channel folder. And I don't want it to iterate through all of my separate folders. I just want the files in this folder in this case. So I've highlighted my folder ID, I copied it, I come back here. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm on the correct sheet. If I was on this sheet, it would replace everything I have here and so forth. So I'm on a brand new sheet. It's a duplicate. Then I'm going to distribute files. Click my menu here. Maybe I'll change that to utilities. And you know what? Let's go ahead and do that just to show you. So on this app script, I am using it. I had a menu called distribute files, but in this case it now does a lot more than that. So I'll just rename it to utilities. I'll save it. I am on the open function, so I'm going to run it, and what that's going to do is write the new open function to the to my sheet here. This distribute files will go away next time I run this. But utilities, I'm going to list the files in a folder. So again, I'm in the right place. Utilities, just list files in a drive folder. Enter the folder ID. I go ahead and paste that folder ID I'd found, and it's going off and finding all the files in that folder. And in one fell swoop, it dumps them all in there. So I now have all these IDs. So I'm back over here now, and I'm wanting to share a file with John, Sue, and Harry. So now I can easily go ahead and say I want to share this jigsaw file with them. I would copy my ID, and then I would come back over here to my sheet 1. Utilities, create file copies. It's going to ask me for a file ID, and I'm going to say OK. And it's going to create a copy of that file for each one of these users. And it's going to write that information back to my sheet. So there's John's jigsaw, and in a moment we should have the others. There's Sue's jigsaw, and there's Harry's jigsaw, and the script is finished. Now let's check and see. I believe I'd set different permissions. So let's open John's jigsaw and see what permissions I had set for him. I don't remember what we'd done, but this is shared with the user was Timothy Welch, but so he's got commenter, and I'll go ahead and put that away. Let's open up this next file. Sue, I believe then I had set as a viewer. and we can open that up and see that indeed Sue is a viewer, and put that away. And then the last file, I believe Harry, I wanted to be an editor to the file, and sure enough, Harry's an editor. So I'm able now to share a list of files, and I have a list of those files. I'll also point out that all of these files are in a folder. So inside of my YouTube channel was my collect data system, and inside here is the new doc files. So there's the jigsaw for Harry, John, and Sue. And it makes it handy for me because now I have a list of the files I've shared, who I've shared them with, and I can open them up and see what they've done with them because I remain the owner. If you look back here, you can see that I'm the owner of all the files, even though I've shared them with those privileges to those people. And again, this would have been, I would rename this to my YouTube channel. That's what these files are. Now I have another script in here. Let me just go ahead and let me duplicate this one. Let me just show you one last thing. So I have another, if I go all the way back to YouTube channel and grab this ID, this entire YouTube channel ID, and copy it, and this time if I run, I've got a new YouTube channel, if I actually run list all files and folders in a drive, go ahead and paste that in. Now what's going to happen here is I'm going to get all the files and all the folders inside. It's going to iterate and just list out there, and you can see now this is my YouTube channel, this is my create PDFs, this is my PDFs from Sarah, images for reveal, and so forth. And you can see it's iterating through all that. Go ahead and click that back. And you can see it's still running. There's going to be a number of files. It's a pretty big folder. There it's done. And I can see now when I do my count, there were 82 files total in this YouTube channel. In its folders and subfolders, there were 82 files. But this really allows me to be able to quickly use this sheet to make my duplicates of my files to the people I need to share them with the correct permissions, and keep track of who I've shared them with. I will point out that this does have a helper column in here, and this helper column is important. The script here actually uses that data that we have in here, K2, K3, K4, K5, K6. It's using that data to write the data back to this sheet, and that's the way I found that I could make this work. This is a formula that is calculating the next empty row, so I'm using that formula, and then in that formula I'm going at, and it's kind of nice because I can mouse over these and I can see what are these files that we're sharing here with these different people. And the same is true when I look at some of these. You can see that some of these files, this is a drawing, this is a drawing, this is that's a presentation slide, and then again presentation. So if I wanted to make a copy of this one, for instance, I would just copy this. That's my ID. Come over to my sheet, add a new user. This might be Larry, and Larry needs, again, I'll type in this email, otherwise I believe it would fail. So that's an email I have, and I want Larry to be able to edit this. Utilities, create files. I've got an ID on my clipboard. I go ahead and paste, and it should be making a copy of that file. And in this case, just to show you, it doesn't matter what kind of file it is. This happens to be a presentation, and I can go ahead and open it up, and you can see it's a copy of an Eric Kurtz presentation. You can see that I can go through and work with this, and you'll see that Harry Twalch at LGSD, or Harry, also known as, is an editor, because that's what we made him. So it's a very useful little tool, lets you keep track of things. App scripts, there's several app scripts on here. This does my file indexing. I'm not going to go through how all of this works in this lesson. This is the part that basically creates my bulk documents. And there's another script in here that is being developed that will allow you to change the permissions. I haven't got that to work yet. Okay, hope that you enjoy this, and I'm going to set it up so that you can get a copy of this file in the YouTube video.